Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm coming to you from a new PC. Let me just turn down my bloody recording volume a little bit there. So this is going to be my new machine from now on, and I'm quite happy about it. It is very powerful, it's got an i7 8700K and a bloody RTX 2080 inside it. What's the first thing I fucking do with it? Play Halloween Forever and Perils of Baking Refrosted. Two 2D platformers that could very easily run on a toaster. You might be wondering why I'm putting these two together. It's because they're so bloody similar. They're both retro-style platformers that take influence from a game from back in the old NES or SNES generation, depending on which game you're talking about. And they are both sitting in a very, very similar spot for me, opinions-wise. So we might as well do both of them at the same time. I've left timestamps in the description of this video if you want to skip directly to Perils of Baking. But for now, we're just going to start with Halloween Forever because, well, it's the first one I managed to get through. So, yeah, I put about 45 minutes each into both of these games. So, hopefully that gives you a rough idea of where I've been at with these, so let's just get this going. And yes, I have had to basically reset up my entire setup for this, so if something goes wrong or if the video looks a little bit off compared to everything else I've done before, let me know. So, Halloween Forever is a very basic platformer. We do have a fair few things we can change in here, though. You can turn the music and the sound on and off. I'd fully recommend turning the music off, but for the purpose of demonstration, I'll have to leave it on. You have one hit mode, which is neat. I think you actually have to beat the game with this turned on, so good luck. You can reset your unlocks. I don't know why you'd do that. You can turn on 99 lives, which is nice. It'll let you get through the game in one shot, but as you can see, it actually turns off your trophies. You've also got friendly continues. Now, friendly continues is something you're going to want to leave on all the time, because it basically makes it so that you don't get thrown back as far if you die in the middle of a stage. So yeah, I would fully recommend leaving that turned on. There is no reason to turn that off. It doesn't give you any trophies or anything. So we might as well just start the game. You have 8 different characters you can unlock, but I've got 3 at the moment. And they do actually have different gameplay. I mean, Santa Claus here only throws out presents, which is the same projectile as this guy here. But the guy here actually throws out more or less explosive bolts that actually do splash damage and makes the game a hell of a lot easier. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go with the basic character here. And we're just going to wander straight in. So, yeah. This is Halloween Forever. Of course I immediately fuck it up. That's exactly what we do around here. Thanks, game. So, Halloween Forever is pretty much exactly what it looks like. It's a really basic game. It's very clearly influenced by ghosts and goblins. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. You have the ability to jump and double jump, you can duck, and you can throw out some candy corn. That's it for the entirety of the player's ability set. You don't get any sort of, like, pickups or power-ups or anything like that to help you out along the way. There are things you can find and pick up throughout the levels, but they're not power-ups in that sense, they're just like collectibles. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire thing there. So the game itself is very simple. You just wander around, throw tons of candy corn at things until you get to the end of any particular stage. That's more or less it. Like, there is some things, like there's boss fights going on, and there's different like little secrets you can find, but they're not actually that hard to find, mainly because you can find most of the secrets just by looking for cracked walls, and they aren't very hard to spot. Trust me on that, like that is definitely not a cracked wall. And then you have boss fights from time to time. What do the bosses do? They try and attack you. I mean, it sounds obvious, and that's because it is. You have to try and defeat them. This guy's collision mask just, like, kinda sucks, honestly, but thankfully I've taken him out, so that means I get to move on to the next part of the level. Of course, stages have bosses and mini-bosses, and the unfortunate thing about the bosses is just that they're not that interesting. Really, that's pretty much it. Like, most of the game is uninteresting, but you would hope the bosses would be something somewhat interesting. Like, you've got bloody Cursed Castilla, Maldita Castilla EX, which came out on the Vita a while ago, which was... It wore its ghouls and ghosts and goblins, whichever one you prefer. It wore that influence on its freaking sleeve. This game, not so much, gotta say. I mean, sure, you can tell that's what it's going for, and it's got some neat ideas. Like, you've got the whole candy corn thing with the gravity going on, but I mean, other than that, that's basically all there is to this game's originality. Other than, like, the Halloween theme, which, to be fair, isn't really that original in the grand scheme of things. And the game just continues on like this. Like, it doesn't even get that much extra enemy variety as time goes on. It gets some, but certainly not much. Oh, great. So I have to go all the way back down. Yep, I have to take the long way around, because of course I do. Cool. Steam has finished downloading Doom, finally. Can actually put this computer to some use. Right, so yeah, here is the stage boss. It really isn't that interesting either. Like, seriously, there's just... all the bosses are very repetitive. You see most of the stuff they can do within, like, 2 minutes. Not even 2 minutes, like 2 seconds, more like, I should say. And they just really don't have that much going for them. They're not interesting at all. You just find yourself thinking, well, what the bloody hell did I fight that thing for? It just seems like a waste of time. And to be fair, a lot of this game is a waste of time. Because there are a few other things I don't like about it. As I said before, the music is horrendous. It actually hurt my ears trying to play it, which is impressive, I must say. You know, usually, well, I'm not going to say I don't mind, like, bad music. I mean, I don't like bad music, but at the same time, music that literally makes me want to turn the music off is a really bad thing. Especially when it gives the people playing your game headaches. That's not a good thing at all, guys. Come on. The game is also reliant on an old mechanic that was really nice to see gone, and I'm not entirely sure why they were so insistent on bringing it back, and that is leaps of faith. You don't have that much vertical room on the camera, so when it comes to going down certain pits, you end up in a position where you can't see what's at the bottom, so you don't know if it's actually safe to go down and jump or not. And some of these pits can be instant kill. Like, I know for a fact, because I've already died once to this part of the stage already, that everything except these two, instant kill pit. So if you didn't know that, you'd be screwed. I mean, sure, the level is kind of built to make you think, oh, maybe it's a bad idea to go all the way out on this pit. But then again, that takes a lot of, like, in-depth gamer, not so much intelligence, instinct. That takes a lot of in-depth gamer instinct that you just might not have, especially if you're playing a game like Halloween Forever, which isn't exactly particularly hard on the old noggin. Bloody hell, I swear to God I pressed it down and jumped there. Look at this boss. This isn't a very interesting boss at all. Oh, god damn it. Those damn heads. Yeah, just the game isn't difficult. It's like, you'd think for a game that has such a big influence from ghouls and ghosts that the game would have, like, more interesting enemies, maybe more interesting level design that doesn't rely on bloody cheap deaths, more interesting, well, basically anything at this rate, because the overall quality, like, I'm not going to say the game is bad. It controls fine, that's one thing. The controls are mostly responsive. I haven't noticed anything in particular wrong with them. And the just general, the general just feel of it is good, and it doesn't run that badly. Like, it might run a bit, Like, it doesn't really, like, drop any frames at all. It's a pretty good port, all things considered. But considering that the game is so simple that it was, that it looked like this, and as far as I'm aware, it was made in Game Maker Studio, which, to be fair, for a simple game like this, probably not going to be bad. Goddamn skeletons. So there are things like, as I said before, little unlockables lying around. They'll give you a little secret, I should say, that are lying around that gives you a secret ending. And you know, just, I mean, that's really it. Like, there's really not much else to it at all. It does have some replayability, but at the same time, the game requires you to beat the game with every unlockable character, so you have to go through it at least 8 times. And that's if you don't game over and go all the way back to the start. Yeah, have I mentioned that yet? There's no continues in this game. The 2 lives you get are it. I don't think there's any way to get any extra... Fuck, I hate these skeletons. I don't think there's any way to get any extra lives. I could be wrong about this. In fact, knowing my luck, I probably am, but I haven't seen any extra lives since I started playing, and I've made it to, like, halfway through the 3rd stage. So, yeah. Here comes the 2nd boss. Yep, those are his 2 attacks. No, I'm not kidding. Those are actually his 2 attacks. That's it. That's the entire boss. Yep, I've had enough of this. We're gonna stop here, and we're just gonna quit because there's no point going any further. That's what the game looks like all the way through. So, yeah, we're just gonna move straight on to Perils of Baking Refrosted, which is actually going to take a while to load, so I might as well summarize Halloween Forever. It looks okay, sounds absolutely terrible, plays like a really generic and uninteresting version of Ghouls and Ghosts. It only goes for $5, which isn't horrible, but at the same time, I wouldn't recommend it either. There are better ways to spend $5. And that reminds me, I actually need to go and check how much bloody, this game is. Hang on. Just, you can watch the intro cutscene, because funnily enough, this game doesn't have a main menu at all. Yes, really. It's a bit strange. It just goes straight into, like, the world map once the intro cutscene ends. And I'm not entirely sure why. My phone's about to go off. I apologize for the sound you're about to hear. Yep, you can tell that I don't bother to change my bloody message ringtone because people don't talk to me. I'm just going to see how much Perils of Baking is. I forgot to check. Like, I've already done 2 failed takes of this. The second take failed because my computer literally showed up at the door and I got distracted. So, let's just have a quick look at the price of this. Perils of Baking. $10. Yeah. Alright. Let's just skip to the world map. So this is Perils of Baking. If I had to pick a game that this game took a bit more inspiration from, I'd say it's Donkey Kong Country. It's got a lot of stuff from Donkey Kong Country, like bonus levels, minecart levels. Doesn't have like the weird little... Oh, I fucked this jump up so many times. Right, let's give this another shot. But yeah, it's got like minecart levels, it's got weird little bonus levels hidden throughout. It's got, it's just got neat stuff like that, you know? So, this game does have a bit of a weird health system, where you have a food counter in the top right, and you increase it by obviously getting food, like cookies. And actually you can increase it by jumping on cookies to take them out. That is actually a thing that's in this game. And if you get your food meter filled up, you can get a brain. Because apparently mine's not working. If you fill your food meter up to full 50, you get an extra heart. And of course, if you get touched by an enemy or whatever, you will lose a heart. Sounds simple enough. You can also get a chef's hat, which will allow you to throw out pieces of... not pieces, I don't remember what it lets you throw. I think it lets you throw pans or something. But, yeah, basically once you got enough hearts, you can... Oh, shit. You can start throwing out stuff to attack enemies more directly, which is a nice little thing to be able to do. The popcorn machine is your stopgap, by the way. Yeah, as you can see, I can throw these now. And if I take out an enemy, I get a little bit of extra food out of it, which is nice. You do also have the BAKE throughout each level, which reminds me of Donkey Kong Country. And when you collect all of them, you get a... Brain, work with me here once again, please. When you collect all of them, you get 100 on your food meter, which is enough for 2 hearts, which is nice enough, I suppose. The controls are even more simple than, The controls are even more simple. Well, not really, they're not more simple. It's basically the same set. You've got a sprint button, which you should basically be holding the entire bloody time, because your base walking speed is really slow for some reason. And... Now, why would that be down there? Ooh, cheeky. This is going to lead to a bonus area, isn't it? Yes, it is. So yeah, you get to see what the bonus levels look like. You get a limited time to get as much food as you possibly can. I don't know exactly what you do with all this food outside, just get extra health out of it. It's a little bit odd. There doesn't seem to be anything in the way of like shops you can spend your food at, so it's really just pumping up this counter you get in the pause menu. It's bizarre. Yeah, that's basically the entire gist of it. Like, I mean, it's kind of neat. I'm not going to say it's a bad game, but it's even more, like, stylistically dull than freaking Halloween Forever, which is incredibly bizarre. That game, I thought it couldn't get any more dull than Halloween Forever. I mean, like, Halloween Forever is okay, but it's definitely not the most interesting theme I've ever played. Then I played this and I thought to myself, maybe I should hold my tongue a little bit more. I'll at least give this game credit, though. It's got a fair bit more variety, with minecart levels and balloon levels, and it does have bosses too, but they are a lot more spaced out. I haven't fought the second boss yet. This game does have 4 worlds. It also does have an underwater world, as you can see. I hate those damn things. Come here, I want you. So at least in gameplay it's more interesting, but the overall theme of the cooking just... After 10 minutes of play, you've seen everything there is to see. There's a couple of cute, like, different kinds of food here and there that you go up against, and a couple of really odd ones, like freaking donuts that carry around freaking sticks of dynamite. That's actually a thing, and they will explode and kill you. And that's pretty much it. Like, it's even... It puts its theme to less use than Halloween Forever does. But it makes up for it with slightly more in-depth gameplay. Although, I must admit that it's still quite boring. As I said before, there's nothing in the way of upgrades outside of getting this thing. And you just don't get that much else to play around with. And, I mean, sure, you get, like, the balloon stuff and such, but... It feels basic. Under the fingers, if you've ever played, like, any platformer before, ever... Picking this up, it will feel basic underneath your fingers. Like, it will be like... I've played this game a million times before already, and you'll probably... You won't feel the same way about Halloween Forever, although you will still know that the game feels rather generic. And for those 2 individual reasons, for Halloween Forever and, well, this game too, they bore me to tears. Both games bored me to tears after about 30 to 45 minutes. There's nothing else to them. They are just very simple platformers, one note, don't really have that much in the way of interesting stuff. And they've each got areas where they both significantly fall down and could use some improvement. At least the music's okay in this one. Nothing to write home about at all, but at least it's okay. I think we'll go play a minecart level, then call this video off, because you really don't need to see anymore. This is what the game looks like throughout the whole thing. Oh yeah, there are warp worlds. You can find, like, secret entrances to super hard levels. I've only found one of them so far. I will give the game a little bit of credit. They do... It is nice that they tell you where all the bonus rooms are by just, like, marking the levels where they are specifically. I like that. That's a nice touch, and I appreciate it. But yeah. It still doesn't change the fact that it's a very basic platformer at heart that doesn't really do anything to entertain, and if you're like me at all, you'll be bored within 20 minutes. It's not bad, but it's not something that I particularly want to play again. I actually played the original Donkey Kong Country recently. At least the minecart levels in this game are nowhere near as frustrating as the ones in Donkey Kong Country. Like, not even close. No credit for partial baking. So yeah, that was a look at Perils of Baking. It's not a bad game, it's just a really, really unremarkable one, and it doesn't really do anything to stand out in its genre. And I just find myself being bored playing it in the same way that I found myself being bored of playing Halloween Forever, which is why I put these two in the same video, because recording these two videos separately and putting them both up one after the other would absolutely kill any sort of viewer base I have left. So, yeah, there you go. I wouldn't recommend either of them, but if you told me to pick one, it would probably be Perils of Baking, just because the gameplay is that little bit better and a little bit more varied, but it's also double the price. So, yeah. There you go. Hopefully this video turned out alright, because this is the first test of my new computer. Also, I was recording at 30 FPS the whole time. Shit. Doesn't matter. The game's run at 60 anyway, but it's not like you can really tell the difference on YouTube, so whatever. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.